Are you interested in upping your Garb game, whether it's for cosplay, Renaissance fairs, or LARPing? Let me show you the biggest tip in the world. Generally, I like to film here in my office, but I need a little bit more room today, so we are heading out into the living room as I give you the biggest tip in the world from going from first day newbie, whether you're LARPing, Renaissance fair, cosplaying, to something that can look like it can be from a movie. So when we say let's up our Garb game, what's our goal? What are we really talking about? For me, it means I want my costume, my kit, my gear to fit in and the scene of my favorite movie, like Lord of the Rings, or I really like a bunch of the different historical reenactment shows. Last Kingdom is one of my all-time favorites. I want my kit to be able to fit in there, that if I walk on in this, it's gonna look out of place. My goal is to make it so my costume, my garb, does not stand out. And so how do we accomplish this? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret on what I call the rule of 7. It basically states that we need 7 layers, 7 pieces to our kit to make it look lived in. Because that honestly is what we're trying to accomplish. When we are out, we want our stuff to look like a real person could be wearing this outfit and it would work well for them. So the rule of 7 is 7 layers, 7 unique pieces. Let me show you what I mean. We can see this rule of 7 in play even in our real life, right? If I'm going out to the grocery store, I might just throw on a tank top, some shorts, a pair of flip-flops, and go to the store, right? That is 3 of our layers. But if I'm going to go out, take my wife out for our anniversary, we're going somewhere fancy, I'm going to up my game a bit. I've got my pants on, there's 1. I put on a nice pair of shoes, that's 2. I put on a shirt, tuck it in. I then put on a jacket, that's 4. I might then throw on a tie, that's 5. Put on a watch, that's 6. I might put on some jewelry, put my earrings in, put a necklace on, something like that. That then is 7. So even in our real life, we can see this rule of 7. The more things we add, the more lived in and realistic, believable our characters become when we're LARPing or at the Ren Fair. So let's start with this. For modesty's sake, I'm gonna keep layer 0 on, but we will go through and I'll add piece by piece, layer by layer, and show you what I'm talking about. So here we have layer 1. We just have a basic tunic. I have 2 tunics on here. I'm only counting that as 1. I'm technically allergic to wool and I hate it, so I have to have a linen tunic underneath all of my wool or I break out in a rash, but I'm not counting that as 2 separate things. This is just 1 layer. Step 1, let's jump into step 2. Just like that, step 2 is done. I'm gonna go ahead and add step 3, which are my boots. I don't know if you can see them, but I got my boots on. Those make a really nice addition to any fantasy costume. Gotta love my boots. We'll move on to the next step. So now I have added my belt. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. I'm gonna go add my 5th now. Already you can see 5 layers looks lived in. 5 layers looks believable, but it's adding the next 2 little pieces, generally your accessories, those additional layers that really help sell your costume. It's what makes it believable. And for my layer 6 and 7 for this outfit, I have added a fox and I have added some jewelry. You could also add a crown. You could also add some pouches, some things around your waist to make this outfit look believable, look livable. So again, I've got 7 layers on. I've got my pants, I've got my tunic, I've got my boots, I've got my belt, I've got my coat, I've got my jewelry, and I've got my fox. The rule of 7 makes a complete outfit. Let me show you another one. Now here is another example of a completed outfit using this 7-step principle. I have my boots on, my pants on, my tunic on, my belt on, some armor on, a cloak on, some jewelry on, and a crown on. By adding these individual elements, you can start to make your costume look more believable. With this one, I've got a little bit of a traveler vibe, right? I've got the worn cloak, but then a little bit of the armor there as well. It adds some believability to your costume, to your kit, when you have multiple layers, multiple things that can tell a story. Now let me tell you the coolest part about this rule of 7. Say you are building out your character and you're not sure what your next step is going to be. Say you don't have boots, or say you don't have a cloak that you want. You can always add more onto it. Say you have to use normal tennis shoes. Try and get the plainest, most black pair of tennis shoes that you can, and don't worry about it. You can then just add more layers up top, add more headpieces, add more jewelry, add another coat, add another layer to it. The cool thing, when you have this many layers, this many points, if you're missing one or two, you can just add more on and it will distract the eye towards the cool parts of your kit while ignoring the parts that may not be up to snuff in your opinion. I will also leave a link to a video that I had done previously that goes through some really awesome ways to find some great garb for cheap, whether it's used garb or halfway completed garb that someone just didn't want to finish and you want to put a little bit of elbow grease into it. There are ways to make some really, really cool pieces of garb for not that much. For instance, this cloak that I am wearing, this was just 2 yards of extra fabric that I had lying around. I cut it, did exactly what I wanted with it, frayed the edges, and now it has become a mainstay in a lot of my costumes. You can get some really cool pieces for pretty cheap, so check out that video. So what do you think of my rule of 7? Does it add to your kit? Do you think it is something that you will utilize in the future? I would love your opinions on this. I would love for you to tag me in the things that you make using this rule of 7. My name is St. Godric. I have been a LARPer and reenactor for going on 15 years now. I hope that this information helps you enjoy the hobbies that I love so much. Until next time, peace.